Greetings, everybody. Okay, this is going to be part 2 of this board meeting. I had to split it up because it's a bit lengthy and I've got commentary. And we were at the citizens' comments. In part 1, we had Mr. Gordon come up to read a statement to the board, and he was interrupted, and then he left. Now I'm going to go through what was said or the reaction afterward and continue on with the citizen comments. So let's do a little transition here. Here it is, and I have to come back to this screen. Let's blow it up and play.
Yes.
Yes.
I have to make a statement.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
Let's
Let's
just get to this public comments. We have a section here for
to make a comment on this statement.
So I think that's out of order.
It's not out of order.
We have public comments. We have a section. We have a section of citizens' comments.
The rule said that if a request is made by a supervisor to make a statement after someone comment, it should be granted. Okay?
Well, make your statement.
I have a right to make a statement. Start the clock. Mr. Smart, that was not necessary. First Amendment rights. It's clear that a citizen has the right to criticize either one of them. They have a right to criticize and for you to deny them that right. It's not right. For this board to deny that. It's not right. That's one reason why we were elected by the constituents. The constituents have a right when they're not satisfied to state anything that they think is not going on correctly or properly according to the law. And we can't deprive that. I just wanted to put that on the record against the denial that was done.
That's your statement. I would also like to make a statement. I was elected to be chairman to conduct the meetings. And I'm tasked with conducting these meetings in accordance to the Board of Supervisors bylaws and rules of procedures. The bylaws and rules of procedures states how people what they can address and how they address, and if they are addressing employees of the county or members of the board, it has to be related to their job duties. It's right here in the Board of Supervisors bylaws and procedures. Now, you talk First Amendment rights. I consider First Amendment right to go up on the street, say what you want to. But when we try to conduct business in the county, we need to do it in an orderly fashion. And public comment, people make us aware of things that we need to work on to make things better for people in the county. It's not to get up and say anything. You want the newspaper to pay attention to.
There was not anything that he said that you wanted to make a statement.
Okay.
He had the constitutional right to do that. We cannot supersede that with local rules. We can't take those rights. We need to go on.
Next person.
Okay, transition. There we go. All right. I'm seeing this for the first time. My first thought, please remember that I have been to a lot of these board meetings, personally filmed, commented, met people, talked to them, interviewed them. One complaint I have had about this commentary section of the public comment is that before, the board members never really addressed what the people said. It was like they were not being listened to. Sometimes not even acknowledged. They would just basically be like, next. And people would get up there and ask questions, make complaints or whatever. And I find this really interesting that this is the first time I've seen Mr. Claiborne address what just happened and stick up for the person speaking if they felt they were in the wrong. I've never seen that happen in the past. And you guys, I've been watching this for months. Now that's not to pick on him or say what he said wasn't right. Yes, of course people have a constitutional right to speak, but there's also rules of the meeting, code of conduct or whatever. And Mr. Roller, I don't want to use, I guess you could say debated, is they had a bit of a back and forth there. So Mr. Claiborne's saying that he wants to go on record saying that he thinks it's not right that a person wasn't allowed to speak. He was allowed to speak, but Roller was differentiating between a personal attack and sticking to the duties or concerns of the county business. And once again, going over, I feel like that Mr. Gordon absolutely has a right to say something and had some valid points, but I felt like the way he started it did appear to be a personal attack. I have tried myself to get these two men in a room together. One time they agreed, then one stepped out, then they agreed, then another one stepped out. Now they, one of the parties won't agree. Because I think the adult way to do this is to hash this out in person and talk to each other. This is why interviews are so important to me, to get to know people and speak to people and look them in the eye and talk to them and ask them questions. The irony of this is, well, no, I really shouldn't say that because then I'm being a little more personal, is that there's things I agree with, but I feel like they're not being held or followed through or processed correctly. Yeah, I mean, you heard my whole spiel on the last one about the way these code of conduct or rules of the meeting are just very poorly written. You're going to get what you expect. So having this exchange between them was a good thing in a way, but I could see, what if you got 100 people that want to talk? You can't rehash and go over everything they all say. And in the past, it never was. So what's the happy medium? How can you allow citizens to get up here and and speak to their concerns, yet keep the meeting going on a good pace? Someone told me that citizens' comments used to be at the end of the meeting, so that we could get through the business and all, which should be number one, really. Our top priority. Maybe that's the way to go back to. I don't know, but there's something about this process that isn't good. And, sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off. And I do think that this is the first time I've seen a Board of Supervisor member asked to speak to talk about what eventuated with a citizen, because they're usually just ignored. But also, they usually are allowed to say whatever they want. Nobody says anything. I think this is kind of like a pinnacle of an issue between a board member and someone that ran against him, and mixed with being a public citizen. What he said. You read a statement, or you've heard me read a statement. I posted it for you. What he said about a committee member, Ms. Cowan, being taken off for prejudicial reasons by Board Member Smart, that was the meat of what should have been addressed. And maybe Mr. Smart should have answered that. You asked, Mr. Gordon asked for he asked for a resignation, then he asked for a censure. I don't know. It's a complicated issue. Let's move on. I'm digressing, but I did want to stop and speak to that about Mr. Claiborne speaking out, because I was really surprised to see that. That's in my experience of being there, that has not been a past observation of mine. Is it significant? Possibly, because I see a complete faction that is broken apart. with this board that's just the flip of what it was before. It's frustrating because you want a team. You want these people working for you. All right, let's transition back to the video. Let's go over here and start it again. And let's see what's going on next.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
My name is
My name is
Jennifer
Jennifer
Champion, and I
Champion,
live
and I
in
live in
Clover.
Clover.
And I
And
would
I
like
would
to
like to
formally
formally
submit
submit
a
Freedom of Information
request
request
concerning the
concerning the
forensic
forensic
audit
audit
conducted by the
conducted by the
Premier
Premier
Group
Group
and
and
subsequently
subsequently
reviewed by the
reviewed by
Board
the
of
Board of
Supervisors
Supervisors
at the
at the
public
public
meeting on
meeting on
March
March
of
of
2026.
2026.
Given this
Given this
matter
matter
involves the
involves
use
the
of
use of
public
public
funds,
funds,
it is
it is
essential for
essential for
citizens to have
citizens to have
access
access
to
to
information
information
about how
about
that
how
money
that
is
money is
spent
spent
and to be
and to be
informed of
informed of
any,
any,
if
if
any,
any,
fraudulent
fraudulent
activities.
activities.
Your
Your
oath as
oath as
public
public
officials
officials
bind you to
bind you to
uphold
uphold
transparency
transparency
in the
in the
management of
management of
taxpayer
taxpayer
money.
money.
Citizens are
Citizens are
entitled
entitled
to
to
access all
access all
letters,
letters,
emails, and
emails, and
correspondence
correspondence
related to the
related to the
board's
board's
plan
plan
for
for
addressing the
addressing the
issue.
issue.
Ensuring
Ensuring
openness
openness
is
is
fundamental in
fundamental in
maintaining the
maintaining the
public
public
trust.
trust.
And
And
first,
first,
regarding the
regarding the
audit
audit
recommendations,
recommendations,
I
I
strongly
strongly
urge the
urge the
board to
board to
reject the
reject the
idea of
idea of
allowing
allowing
Stephanie
Stephanie
Jackson to
Jackson to
return to
return to
assist in
assist in
locating
locating
missing
missing
documents,
documents,
allowing
allowing
someone
someone
connected to
connected
the
to
issue
the issue
under
under
review to
review to
re-enter the
re-enter the
process,
process,
risks
risks
compromising the
compromising the
integrity
integrity
of the
of the
investigation.
investigation.
At
At
minimum, it
minimum, it
creates the
creates the
appearance of
appearance of
conflict,
conflict,
and that
and that
alone should
alone
give
should
this
give this
board
board
pause.
pause.
It is
It is
also
also
concerning that
concerning
key
that key
individuals
individuals
step
step
down
down
during a
during a
period
period
of
of
increased
increased
scrutiny.
scrutiny.
When
When
resignations and
resignations and
unanswered
unanswered
questions about
questions about
financial
financial
discrepancies
discrepancies
occur.
occur,
At the
at the
same
same
time, it
time, it
naturally
naturally
raises
raises
concerns
concerns
among the
among the
public.
public.
Transparency and
Transparency and
accountability
accountability
must be the
must be the
priority
priority
moving
moving
forward.
forward.
No
No
office
office
should
should
operate in
operate in
such a
such a
way that
way that
only one
only one
individual can
individual can
locate
locate
critical
critical
records.
records.
If
If
documents
documents
cannot be
cannot be
found through
found through
normal
normal
channels,
channels,
it is
it
a
is a
serious,
serious
systematic
systematic
issue that
issue that
deserves
deserves
independent
independent
review, not
review, not
internal
internal
recovery
recovery
efforts
efforts
by
by
formal
formal
professionals.
professionals.
Second, I
Second,
want
I
to
want to
address the
address the
proposed
proposed
mandatory
mandatory
citizen
citizen
comment
comment
form.
form.
This
This
requirement
requirement
risks
risks
discouraging
discouraging
public
public
participation,
participation,
particularly from
especially from
residents who
residents who
may
may
wish to
wish to
speak but
speak
not
but not
plan to in
plan to in
advance.
advance.
Public
Public
comment is
comment
one
is one
way
way
and the
and
most
the most
important way for
important way for
citizens to
citizens to
engage with their
engage with their
local
local
public
public
officials,
officials,
and it
and
should
it should
remain
remain
accessible.
accessible.
Policies
Policies
appear
appear
to
to
limit
limit
public
public
input,
input
can
can
undermine
undermine
trust.
trust.
I
I
encourage the
encourage
board
the
to
board to
focus
focus
instead on
instead on
upholding its
upholding its
existing
existing
standards of
standards of
conduct
conduct
rather than
rather than
adding
adding
barriers to
barriers to
citizens'
citizens'
participation,
participation,
especially when
especially
those
when those
barriers may
barriers may
conflict with
conflict with
your own
your own
policy
policy
framework.
framework.
In
In
closing, I
closing, I
respectfully
respectfully
ask that
ask that
you vote
you vote
no on
no on
allowing
allowing
Stephanie
Stephanie
Jackson to
Jackson to
assist in
assist
this
in this
matter
matter
and
and
reconsider the
reconsider the
implementation of
implementation of
mandatory
mandatory
comment
comment
form.
form.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you for your
time.
time.
Ms.
Ms.
Champion, I
Champion,
would
I would
like
like
to
to
respond as
respond as
far as
far
the
as the
citizens
citizens'
comment
comment
form.
form.
We have
We had
been
been
having
having
difficulty
difficulty
come up with
come up with
names,
names,
addresses, phone numbers. We had to
we had to
contact
contact
people, and it
people, and it
was
was
more of a
more
desire for
desire
us to
for
have
us to have
information where
information
we
where
could
we can
contact
contact
people and
people
let
and
them
let
know
them know
findings of
findings
the
of the
board, are
board,
we
are we
doing
doing
correct
correct
situations. And that
situations. And
was the
that was the
beginning of it.
beginning
It
of
was
it. It was
taken
taken
off the
off the
agenda
agenda
for
for
further
further
review,
review.
to maybe
Maybe
make it a
make
little
it a
bit
little bit
more
more
user
user
friendly,
friendly,
but
but
we'll be
we'll be
looking at
looking
that.
at that.
And
And
anyway, thank
anyway,
you for
thank
your
you for your
comment.
Yes,
comment.
sir.
Yes, sir.
In
And
answer to that,
that
the
the
form
form
appears
appears
more
more
as
as
if like the
like
board
the
wanted
board
us to
wanted us
submit our
to
questions prior to
prior
our
to our
No,
meeting.
no, no.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
that seems protected by a lot of people, and
yeah,
maybe the board just needs to not
yeah,
require.
yeah.
No,
We'll
we'll
take that
take
into
that into
consideration.
consideration.
Thank you.
Okay, where's my mouse? Get back over here. Yeah. All right, so this was a Miss Champion, and she had 2 points. She brought up some things about this forensic audit. That's a whole nother ball game that I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. But she's disputing bringing back a former employee to find files. Apparently, when they spent $50,000 on a forensic audit, it wasn't complete by any means because they said they couldn't find most of the files or paperwork. Which is kind of crazy. And I don't know if the board suggested, but it's been mentioned about bringing the girl that used to be the financial director back because she can find the files, which that doesn't make sense to me either. Very much agree with Ms. Champion about, why would nobody be able to find them? How could there, and now if you do find them, you got to pay another $30,000, I think, to get the forensic audit team to come and complete it. Why was none of this discussed during the forensic audit? There's things that don't make sense. No one's even been accused of like stealing money. Is there missing funds? How would you know? There's no records. But it seems like logically the very first thing should be done is to repair every problem and then try to go back. But I think that this is what's holding up something about the budget. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that very much, but she made some really good points. The second thing she was talking about, look at my notes here, was the comment form. They're talking about you have to fill out a comment form. She's saying we shouldn't have to do that it inhibits people. They may not know they want to ask a question until the night of the meeting or whatever. And that may be true. However, most everything I've been to, be it city council meetings, zoning meetings, public hearing, whatever, there's a sign-in sheet. People sign in. And a lot of times I have seen, with other municipalities or counties, that you do fill out a comment form. And I think a good point was made. I think it was Mr. Roller that said, if you're going to ask a question, we don't know your name, where you're from, nothing to get back to you. So I think it's a good line of communication. I think it's also a way to help record keeping, because if you go back, and most people don't read the minutes at all, if you go back, they put everything, who it is, what they talked about. It's pretty tedious. In fact, I was at a meeting tonight and they had a motion to not read the meetings from the minutes from the last meeting because it was so tedious. Oh God, I think I'm getting hiccups. Anyway, so I just have to, I'm in a little bit of disagreement with her on that. I appreciate her points. I think a couple were valid. But I think it would also help maintain some order in so much as if you have 10 people put in a form that they want to speak or have questions, it's 3 minutes each, that's a 30-minute allotment. I think it would help time management. And somebody can fill out a form and then get up there and not even talk about what they said it would be. So I don't think it would much inhibit in that way. But I mean, if it's to do with county business, why wouldn't you care about writing it anyway? I think having a form is a good idea, actually. And it can also help with, keeping track of things, like how many people do speak, what districts are represented by people that do speak. Maybe more people come and speak from a district that has more concerning issues that need to be thought about. I mean, gathering information for statistical reasons, I think, so, a good idea. It helps educate on things at hand. And I think it would be a good orderly time management thing to do, and give whoever's doing the record keeping and doing the minutes some help. Because I've read minutes and it's like, oh, it was Frank. I didn't catch his name, whatever. So, all right, let's move on to the next person talking. What do I do here? I have to unblock the screen capture, go back over here, start it,
Okay.
and then do a transition.
Good afternoon. Scarlett Brandon, unfortunately, District 5. Good evening. I want to address the findings of the forensic investigation covering fiscal years 2021 through 2025. At the March meeting, the comment was made to the citizens, we're just going to move on. For taxpayers, that statement was deeply troubling. You do not simply move on from a forensic audit that revealed serious deficiencies in financial controls and documentation. Investigators reviewed 398 financial transactions. Only 7 had complete documentation. 342 had none at all. That means over 85% of those tested transactions could not be verified. In
In
government
government
accounting,
accounting,
documentation is
documentation is
not
not
optional.
optional.
It is the
It is the
fundamental
fundamental
proof that
proof
the
that the
public
public
money,
money,
our
our
money,
money,
was
was
spent
spent
legally and
legally and
responsibly.
responsibly.
This
This
county
county
currently has no such
such
proof
proof
for the
for the
vast
vast
majority of
majority of
transactions
transactions
examined.
examined.
The
The
report
report
also
also
found that
found that
financial
financial
duties were
duties were
concentrated
concentrated
to
to
one
one
single
single
individual
individual
without
without
meaningful
meaningful
independent
independent
oversight.
oversight.
This
This
created an
created an
environment where
environment where
errors,
errors,
irregularities, or
irregularities, or
even
even
potential
potential
fraud could
fraud
go
could go
undetected.
undetected.
Additionally,
Additionally,
payroll
payroll
records could
records
not
could
be
not be
reconciled to the
reconciled to the
county's
county's
accounting
accounting
records,
records,
raising
raising
serious
serious
questions
questions
about
about
payroll
payroll
accuracy.
accuracy.
Despite these
Despite
red
these red
flags, we
flags,
were
we were
simply
simply
told to
told
move
to move
forward
forward
with
with
new
new
revenue
revenue
generating
generating
projects,
projects,
data
data
centers,
centers,
battery
battery
storage
storage
facilities
facilities
with net
with net
zero
zero
jobs,
jobs,
and more
and more
solar
solar farms.
farms. After a
After a
report
report
exposing
exposing
such
such
weak
weak
controls,
controls,
how can
how can
taxpayers be
taxpayers be
expected to
expected to
trust the
trust the
county
county
with
with
millions
millions
more of
more
our
of our
tax
tax
dollars
dollars
and new
and
major
major projects?
projects? Before
Before
moving
moving
forward,
forward,
taxpayers
taxpayers
deserve
deserve
clear
clear
answers.
answers.
Where's the
Where's the
documentation?
documentation?
Did any
Did
of
any
these
of these
transactions
transactions
involve
involve
federal
federal
funds,
funds,
such as
such as
CARES
CARES
or
or
ARPA
ARPA
money?
money?
What
What
specific
specific
structural
structural
changes are
changes are
going to
going
be
to be
implemented to
implemented to
prevent this
prevent this
level of
level of
financial
financial
risk from
risk from
happening
happening
again?
again?
Has the
Has the
county
county
conducted an
conducted an
independent
independent
review to
review to
determine
determine
whether
whether
improper
improper
payroll
payroll
payments
payments
or
or
unauthorized
unauthorized
expenditures
expenditures
occurred?
occurred?
We are
We
not
are not
asking for
asking for
excuses.
excuses.
We are
We are
demanding
demanding
accountability.
accountability.
Taxpayers
Taxpayers
expect an
expect an
investigation and
investigation and
full
full
transparency from
transparency
this
from this
board.
board.
Moving on
Moving on
without
without
answers
answers
is
is
not
not
leadership.
leadership.
It is
It is
sweeping these
sweeping these
serious
serious
problems
problems
under the
under the
rug
rug
once
once
again.
again.
Furthermore, and I
Furthermore, I
know,
know,
Mr.
Mr.
Muller, you've
Muller,
already
you've already
spoken
spoken
about
about
this,
this.
under the
Under
new
the new
business
business
is the
is the
proposed
proposed
mandatory
mandatory
citizens
citizens
comment
comment
form.
form.
Yes, it
Yes,
has
it
been
has been
taken
taken
completely out
completely
of
out of
context,
context,
requiring
requiring
citizens to
citizens to
submit their
submit
full
their full
name,
name,
demographics,
demographics,
and
and
comments
comments
before they
before
are
they are
allowed to
allowed to
speak is
speak
not
is not
transparency.
transparency.
It
It
looks
looks
like it is
like it is
pre-screening.
screening.
That is
That
how
is
it
how
has
it
been
has been
perceived.
perceived.
Public
Public
comment is
comment
meant
is
to be
meant to be
open,
open,
not
not
filtered.
filtered.
If the
If
member
the
of this
member of this
board
board
supports or
supports or
passes this
passes this
measure, it will
measure, it will
could possibly
possibly
further
further
erode
erode
trust
trust
and move our
and move our
county in the
county in the
wrong
wrong
direction.
direction.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I
And
would
I
like
would
to
like to
add
add
that,
that,
it's,
it's,
the
the
board is
board
just
is
not
just not
moving
moving
on from
on
its
from its
forensic
forensic
audit.
audit.
All the
All the
recommendations are
recommendations are
planning on
planning on
being
being
addressed.
addressed.
And,
And,
and it
and
looks
it
like
looks
we
like
will
we will
be
be
making
making
plans on
plans
that in a
on that in
couple
a
of weeks
couple
or
of weeks or
still
still
until
till
instead of
instead of
tonight.
tonight.
But,
But,
anyway,
anyway,
next
next
citizen,
citizen,
please.
please.
Okay, transition. All right, so that was Miss Scarlett Brandon, and she said, unfortunately, District 5, I can't remember who District 5 is, but apparently she's not happy with whoever represents her in that district. All right, so she spoke to the forensic audit issue again. It was excellent. Everything she said was great. Yeah, that was just dead on. That was good. And again, that's another topic for another day. He did say something to her afterward that they were going to be addressing that and putting some things in place in a couple weeks. So we'll see how that goes. I think there's a town hall that's going to be held on April something. I'll try to get it up on the website, to actually talk with citizens specifically about the forensic audit. She also brought up the form to speak at the meeting again, and I just have to disagree with that. I think that actually would be more transparent, instead of some of these surprises that come. Like, nobody's going to write on a piece of paper that I'm going to throw Bible pages at you, obviously. So how is that? And everything. I hate to keep using that example, but that's just ridiculous. No, I just have to beg to differ with that. I think it's really a good idea, actually, for reasons stated before. So let's go on to the next one. And hit play, then hit transition.
Citizen comments.
All right, this is the one I've been wanting to watch.
What's this stuff? My name
My
is
name is
Randy
Randy
Bailey,
Bailey,
live in
live in
District
District
6.
6.
Thank God
Thank
I
God
live
I
in
live in
District
District
3.
3.
for a
for a
well-known
well-known
convicted
convicted
thief
thief
lives.
lives.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
That's,
yeah,
good
good
part. I
part. I
think.
think
that's not right.
yeah.
Well,
Okay. Right. Pause.
no,
Okay. I want to back that up. Okay. Because this is where the bone of contention is. Because I didn't quite hear that. I wish, can I turn that volume up a little bit?
District
District
3
3
for a
for a
well-known
well-known
convicted
convicted
thief
thief
lives.
lives.
Yeah,
Okay. He said a well-known convicted thief lives. He's talking about District 3, which I believe is Jeff Oaks. Oh God, please don't be wrong. And they stopped him. Lately, there's been some things going around on social media, and it's in the past, and he's never denied it. He was convicted of and got a $37 fine for cleaning his computer off when he left office. You know, something they call it washing, something that many people have done, myself included. So this is where he stopped him because he said convicted thief. Now I'm starting to get a better picture of what happened, but I want to see what happened after that. Anyway, back to play.
Yeah, that's
good part.
Good
I
part. I
think.
think.
That's not right.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
no,
no,
I'm
I'm
trying to
trying to
tell the
tell the
District
District
3
3
they need
they
to
need
get
to
a
get a
petition up
petition up
to
to
have
have
him
him
removed.
removed.
Look, personal attack. Look, Bailey.
Okay.
Okay.
Please continue on with something else.
What a
What a
tangle
tangle
web we
web we
weave when we
weave when
try
we
to
try to
deceive
deceive
Ron.
Ron.
That
That
meeting I
meeting
had
I
with
had with
Ron
Ron
and
and
you,
you,
he tried
he
to
tried to
bully me.
bully
You
me.
know
You know
that.
that.
And
And
again,
again,
he
he
didn't
didn't
tell
tell
me
me
goodbye or
goodbye or
nothing. You
nothing. You
got up
got
and
up and
left too
left
and
too,
left me and
left
my
me and my
wife
wife
there.
there.
Let's see.
Let's see,
I told
I
him that
told
I
him
can
that I
read
can read
facial
facial
expressions. He
expressions. He
said he
said he
can too,
can too,
which,
which,
it's
it's
hard for a
hard for a
person to
person
read
to read
facial
facial
expressions.
expressions.
This was a
This was the
meeting I
meeting I
had,
had,
and
and
which
which
ain't no way
ain't
you
no
can
way you
read
can read
facial
facial
expressions
expressions
with me
with
with the
me with
sunglasses and
sunglasses
not
and
my
not my
teeth
teeth
in
in
either,
either,
which the
which the
eyes are the
eyes are the
window of the
window of the
soul.
soul.
I done
I
got
done
two
got two
stripes
stripes
against him.
against
Here's
him.
two
Here's
more
two more
stripes
stripes
against him
against him
on that.
on
He
that. He
says he
says he
knows the
knows the
law. Said
laws
I
that
tried
I
to
tried
make
to
a
make a
threat,
threat,
which
which
no,
no,
I
I
didn't do
didn't do
that. He
that.
don't
He
know
don't
what
know
a
what a
threat
threat
is. So
is.
you
So
need
you
to
need
get
to
rid
get
of
rid of
him.
him.
If that's
If
the way
that's
he
the way he
conducts the
conducts the
meeting,
meeting,
come
come
in
in
and
and
say,
say,
Mr.
get
Bailey,
on
get
with
on
it.
with it.
Mr.
Mr.
Bailey,
Bailey,
please
please
bring
bring
something
something
constructive to
constructive to
us.
us.
Okay.
Okay.
Nancy
Nancy
there
there
on
on
these
these
citizens'
citizens'
comment
comments
things
and
that she
things that
puts
you put
out.
out
It's not
is not
true. It's
true. It's
false
false
as it
as
can
it can
be. A
be.
lot
A
of them.
lot of them.
And
And
I think
I
she
think
needs
she
to do
needs to do
better
better
at it
at
or
it or
what.
what.
But if
But if
you,
you,
like a
like
woman
the
got
woman
up
got
and
up
said
and
the
said
Lord's
the Lord's
Prayer here
Prayer here
the other
the other
week,
week,
and if
and
you're
if
going
you're
to
going
say
to
the
say
Lord's
the Lord's
Prayer,
Prayer,
what she
she
said is
said is
not
not
true
true
in this
in this
Bible
Bible
here.
here.
I have
I
the
have the
Bible with
Bible
the
with the
true
true
Lord's
Lord's
Prayer in
Prayer
it.
in it.
It was
It was
phony
phony
baloney.
baloney.
But that's
But
how
that's
we
how we
do.
do.
It's like
It's
the
like the
Pledge of
Pledge of
Allegiance
Allegiance
is
is
nothing but a
nothing but a
lie.
lie.
God
God
don't do
don't do
that.
that.
And
And
for his
for
liberty and
liberty and
justice for
justice for
all,
all,
nothing but a
nothing but
lie.
a
I
lie.
done
I
made a
done made a
mockery out of
mockery out of
Tracy
Tracy
Martin and
Martin
her
and her
gang
gang
over there
over there
too.
too. Over there doing.
No,
No,
I don't
I
like
don't like
talking to
talking
you.
to
I
you.
don't
I
like
don't
you,
like
to be
you, to be
honest to
honest.
God. I'm
God, I'm
talking to
talking
that
to
man
that
right
man right
there.
there.
He's the
He's the
chairman,
chairman,
not you.
not you.
Mr. Bailey,
Take him out. Thank you, Deputy.
All righty. Okay. Wow. Let's what am I doing here? We gotta change screens. I thought I was gonna have to I'm sorry, I don't know why the transition. I don't know why that volume is so low on my video. Yesterday when I did the first half of it, there was a really bad echo. I had to go in and re-edit the whole thing. Anyway, all right. This too is not quite as it was described to me. I was told he was escorted out, and that's not true. He sat back down, and I think because he was pointing and saying, I don't like you and blah, blah, talking to someone other than the director. I think that's why they called the police up there, because, I don't know, he certainly, I don't know, maybe somebody interpreted that threatening, whatever, but I think that physical motion is what brought the police to come up, and all they did was say, sit down, and he sat down. Now, oh God, why do these have to be such ridiculous meetings? Honestly, you guys. He did make a personal attack, calling somebody a convicted thief, and he was talking about the county administrator, Mr. Braid. Apparently he had a meeting with him and he didn't like his body language and something was said. I don't think any of that was a personal attack. I think whoever kept, I couldn't quite see or tell, but one of the commissioners kept saying personal attack, personal attack. I don't think any of that was a personal attack. He was trying to describe his point of view, perception about what happened at a meeting with him. Then he started bringing up one of the somebody in the prosecutor's office, the Commonwealth Attorney's office, Tracy Martin, says he shut her down. I don't know. But my issue here is that for months I have watched this same man break most of the rules that are set up for this meeting, and no one has really said anything to him or tried to shut him down or tell him he's breaking the rules or all these months. And what it looks like to me is that they've just kind of built up some emotion between the first person that spoke saying negative things and, or however you want to call it. And then him going on with this, it looks to me like this is something that's built up and they finally just said, I've had enough. Shut this guy down. I heard somebody say, take him out, but I didn't see that. He sat back down, the police left. Taking him out did not happen. Even if somebody vocalized it, it did not happen. There's a big difference in saying something and doing something. This man has threatened to sue me. I don't even know why, to be honest with you. He criticizes my background colors and tablecloths. He rips up pages from Bibles and throws them around. He has said some extremely incendiary and inflammatory things. He talked about board members running whorehouses and liquor houses. This meeting is not the place for that. I know a couple of meetings ago, the same one he was talking about here, Tracy Martin, she had the police escort her out because she felt threatened, with all the things he was saying. So here is where we have that fine line of freedom of speech and protection of others, or basically keeping the rules of order within a public meeting. I've seen him personally break those rules multiple times in the past and nothing was done about it. So for this to come to a head like that, I understand it. I do think he was making personal attacks, but I do think a lot of it was exaggerated, and he did have a right to say some of the things he did. I have simply not understood where he's coming from, why he does this. I don't see it as for the good of the county or trying to make progress or being a part of a team to help our community thrive. And, there's rumors I've heard. I'm not going to repeat because I don't have facts on any of that. And his time was actually almost up. I noticed the clock's at 4 seconds. So they did let him go on for the most part. So overall, and I need to see if there's any more speakers just to see how that went. Overall, it looks like there needs to be clarification from the board. They need to rewrite their rules and be more clear and specific. I agree that a forum's a good idea. Y'all can disagree with me. That's fine. Whatever. I don't necessarily think that people's freedom of speech is being curbed, but I don't think this also had to get to this point. if these rules had been clear and followed and enforced from the beginning. Now, I've only been a part of this world for, quite a few months now, but I've observed a lot. And just today, I did an interview, and I'm going to post this later, with the mayor of Brookneal. It's like night and day, the environment. What we have here is a pretty hostile environment. I don't see very many citizens come forward with positivity or good suggestions or ideas. There's some, don't get me wrong, trying to make improvements in the county. There's just so much backbiting and negativity. How do we get past that? One side says it's a corrupt board. The other side says it's pitchfork and torch citizens who aren't informed of the issues. We need some healing in this county, some healing. So let me move on and see if there's more on the citizen comments here. This is tiring. This is very tiring. Don't we have enough at a federal and state level that we shouldn't have it at a local level? God. And transition and start the play in here.
Next person wishing to make citizen comments.
Oh, here comes someone.
Jerry White, 1151 Liberty Road. I just want to address the board tonight to ask for full transparency when it comes to this forensic audit. I also would like to ask that to vote no when it comes to bringing Stephanie Jackson back to clean up her wrongs, to right her wrongs. Like I said, full transparency, and let's do the right thing. Thank you.
Okay, I have to back this up because I did not catch that last bit.
Make citizen comments.
All
When
right.
it comes to bringing Stephanie Jackson back to clean up her wrongs, to right her wrongs. Like I said, full transparency, and let's do the right thing. Thank you.
Okay, I caught it that time. This is, let's go back here. Damn it. All right, so we need to hide that and transition. Boom, there we go. I need to get quicker at this. Okay, that Jerry White, she's also known as Mochifa. She has a Facebook page called Mochifa Knows, and she covers some county events. And I've noticed she's recently been appearing at the board meetings to speak out, and she's trying to encourage her community to do so as well, which is a great thing. So her comments are also about the forensic audit and maybe not bringing I think it's Stephanie Jackson, I think's her name, the old financial director who they're saying can find files that a forensic audit team who was paid $50,000 couldn't find. So she's speaking to that issue. All right, let's see if we have anybody else. Play. Why is this so quiet?
Anyone else? If not, the citizen comment section is closed. There are no public hearings or presentations. Committee reports on Finance Committee, page 104 through 136. Mr. Bragg, you want to address that?
During the finance meeting, there were a couple of different things in one. One was a motion that was made by Supervisor Oates and seconded by Vice Chair Smart to recommend the full board to approve the code applications. One of those is Mr. Chapman's most. And this motion passed in the
Okay, and it was on amount discussed in that.
The amount came up in the joint building and grounds committee meeting where it was presented that $191,000 was being asked of the county for approval. There were other Township had offered 50K. South Boston and the town of Halifax had offered as well, but the ask for the county was 190.
It was a motion from the committee and second from the committee. So makes a motion on the floor, the board. At this time, so the floor is now open for discussion on the on your proposed to approve the proposed completion renovations of the Tricia Wall track at the high school.
All right, let's pause there and add that. Transition. Okay, so now we're moving on to business. They're talking about the Tushwaller track that needs to be renovated. It's in such bad shape at the high school. And they've been asked for, I think, $191,000 to do that. And they're about to have the discussion. But I want to make two quick points. There was a camera going back and forth again. I don't know if the TV channel or somebody was there. I couldn't catch it. And secondly, the citizen who had the police walk up to him, he just now got up and left. So please tell me the purpose of being there. If you're not there to listen to business, is it just to go to the citizen comments to say I'm not going to use the word, but is this makes me very suspect of the motivation. What is the good of this for the county? When you're not even staying for the rest of the meeting to listen to the business of what's going on with the county, to intelligently comment on it later, which is kind of the purpose of that citizen comment on what they're doing. Interesting. See, when I'm in here in person, and I wasn't at this one in person, doing my filming, I would have noticed that. But I would not have noticed that. But watching it objectively from their live streaming, it's interesting because I'm able to watch who talks to who and what's happening. And I do want to make a comment that, Mr. Braid, you really need to speak in a microphone. I can't hear you. Other than I heard that number and I heard something about maybe South Boston's going to contribute, maybe Halifax is going to contribute. Don't quote me because I'm having a lot of difficulty hearing you. I'm hearing the board well. I did not hear the citizens. I had to strain to listen to that. And I've had this discussion with Mr. Braid before about upgrading, getting a second camera, doing better, so that people who can't go, people who are tired, or people who work all day or have other commitments, but want to get involved, if they're going to watch and they're going to get frustrated, they can't hear you. So we can do better on that. All right. So now I'm going to let the rest of this meeting run. But that was the main thing I wanted to have a commentary on because there's been so much talk about it. I don't even know why people ask my opinion because I'm nobody and my opinion doesn't mean much, but there it is. And also, no, I'm not going to say that now. It's just about some upcoming stuff. I'll pick that up in another podcast. So let's finish out this Board of Supervisors meeting. I don't think there's a whole lot left to it. When they have the meeting for the forensic audit, I'm going to try to be there because I think that one's going to be interesting and hopefully it won't get heated and people can be logical and respectful and come up with solutions. So back to our meeting.
I have a question. How long has this track been unusable by the high school team?
As I recall, the discussion at the joint committee, I think that was about 10 years.
Yes. And when will they be able to use it again if we pass?
The repairs could be made in a couple of weeks once the contract modification is approved. And so at that point, it's just a matter of, I think, the Virginia High School League recertifying the track competition.
So all of the competition has away from being built because of the condition of the track.
17 years.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I went to that meeting and, there was a lot of things that were discussed, but I think we need to move forward with this option one that they came up with. And
And
let's
let's not
drag our
drag our
feet.
feet.
And let's
And
go
let's
on
go
and
on
get
and
this
get this
track
track
done
done
so
so
they
they
can
can
have
have
a
a
place
place
here
here
in
in
the
the
county
to be
to
able to
compete.
compete.
So I
So
think
I
we
think we
need to
need to
move
move
forward just
forward
as
just as
quick as
quick
we
as we
can with
can.
this. And
And
I would
I
like
would
to
like to
add, I
add,
think
think
by
by
the
the
board
board
approving
approving
this
this
motion,
motion,
it pretty
it
much
pretty much
sets the
sets the
stage,
stage,
the
ready, the
track can
track
be
can be
renovated this
renovated this
summer and
summer and
approved, and we
approved,
can
and we can
have
have
the
the
students at the
students
high
at high
school
school
can have
and have
competition on it
competition on it
this
this
coming
coming
fall.
fall.
And
And
anyway, that's
anyway,
kind
that's
of the
kind of
time
time
span
span
I'm
I'm
looking at.
looking at.
Any other
Any other
comments?
comments?
And I do
And I
want
do
to
want to
say,
say
we
we
haven't
haven't
forgotten
forgotten
the
the
tennis
tennis
scores.
schools.
That's
That's
something that's
something
going to
that's
have
going
to
to
be
have to be
addressed
addressed
also.
also.
But we
But
need
we
to
need to
move
move
forward with
forward with
this,
this,
and
and
then
then
we'll come
come
back and
back and
hopefully
hopefully
we
we
can
can
somehow
somehow
work
work
on
on
doing the
doing the
tennis
tennis
courts at the
court at
high
the high
school.
school.
Hopefully.
Hopefully,
But
but
anyway,
anyway,
that's my
that's my
concerns.
concerns.
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman, I would concur with
Supervisor
Supervisor
Bell
Bell
that
that
this is on
this
the
is on the
table.
table.
We can get
We can
this
get this
done.
done.
There are
There are
issues with the
issues with the
tennis
tennis
courts,
courts,
with
with
the
the
school
school
system
system
that
that
we need
we
to
need
talk
to talk
about and
about and
address,
address.
and we
And
can
we
do
can do
that.
that.
This
This
is
is
a separate
separate
issue right
issue right
now
now
that needs to
that
be
needs to be
addressed,
addressed.
and
And
I think we ought to
we
go
ought to go
ahead
ahead
and
and
approve this
approve
one.
this one.
I think
I
the
think the
important
important
part,
part,
but
if I
good,
could, is
we're
we're
developing
developing
partnerships
partnerships
with the
with the
towns,
towns,
the
the
school
school
board,
board,
and the
and the
county.
county.
Tishwalla
Tishwalla
was an
was an
exceptional
exceptional
athlete, and
athlete,
we need
and
to
we need to
recognize
recognize
her as
her as
such.
such.
And having
And
that
having that
field
field
complex
complex
named after
named
her
after her
is
is
important.
important.
And
And
we need to
we need to
maintain it
maintain
better,
it better,
of
of
course.
course.
But I think
But I
it's
think
time
it's
that
time
we
that we
did what we
did what we
needed
needed
to
to
do
do
years ago
years ago
to get this
to get
done.
this done.
Any other
Any other
comments
comments
before we
before
take
we
a
take a
vote?
vote?
Okay,
Hey,
with this
with this
amount of
amount of
money, do we
money,
need
do we
a
need
roll
a roll
call?
call?
Yeah.
I would have to.
Roll call
Roll
vote,
call vote,
please.
please.
Supervisor Riddle,
Yes.
Yes.
Chair
Chair
Roller,
Roller,
Yes.
Yes.
Supervisor
Supervisor
Oaks,
Oaks,
Yes.
Yes.
Supervisor Witt,
Witt,
Yes.
Yes.
Vice Chair
Vice Chair
Smart,
Smart,
Yes.
Yes.
Supervisor
Supervisor
Thompson,
Thompson,
Yes.
Yes.
Supervisor
Supervisor
McDowell,
McDowell,
Yes.
Yes.
Supervisor
Supervisor
Planner.
Planer.
Yes.
Motion
Motion
passes
passes 8 to
8-0.
0.
Good God, a unanimous decision. Woohoo!
The
The
next
next
item
item
on our
on our
agenda, on
agenda
the
on
new
the new
business,
business
item
item
one will
one will
be
be
emergency
emergency
operations
operations
plan
plan
update.
update.
And,
And
Jason
Jason
Johnson, if you
Johnson, if you
would
would
come and
come
give us
give
a
us a
brief
brief
summary
summary
with what
with
this
what
is
this is
regarding.
regarding.
Good evening. This
This
very
is
brief
very brief
update.
update.
It's
It's
time to
time to
renew
renew
our
our
EOP,
EOP,
Emergency
Emergency
Operations
Operations
Plan, for the
Plan for the
county.
county.
VDM, I spoke with our
Most of our
VDM
vegan
planners.
planners,
They
they
liked our
liked our
last one
last
so
one so
much.
much.
They said
They said
make the
make the
necessary
necessary
changes to the
changes to the
names
names
and the
and
phone
the phone
numbers,
numbers,
but leave
and leave
everything else
everything else
alone.
alone.
So that's
So that's
exactly what
exactly
I've
what I've
done.
done.
We've made it
We've
a
made it a
working
working
document so that
document
we
so
can
that we
make
can make
changes and
changes
stuff
and stuff
changes
changes
throughout
throughout the
next 4
next 4
years that
years,
we can
so we
just
can just
go ahead
go
and
ahead
fix
and
it
fix it
now.
now.
Um, and
And
there's a
there's a
resolution
resolution
that needs
that
y'all's
needs y'all's
approval,
approval.
and,
And
and that's
that's
truly all
truly all
that was
is
changed in it.
changed in it.
So,
So
we
we
need
need
a
a
motion to
motion to
adopt
adopt
resolution
resolution
2026-7,
2026-7,
adopting
adopting
the
the
2026
2026
Halifax County
Halifax County
Emergency
Emergency
Operations
Operations
Plan.
Plan.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's
Okay,
been
it's been
properly
properly
motioned
motioned
by
by
Supervisor
Supervisor
Riddle,
Riddle and
second.
second.
Whoops, what happened there? Okay, stop.
Welcome back to the weekend prime time. We are
what's
T
this?
minus 14 hours.
Stop. All right, I don't know why, but for some reason this has split into two. So I've got to find it. Let's pause recording here. Okay, I'm not sure what happened here, but there's a gap missing and it's split into two videos. And apparently they went into a closed session for about 30 minutes or so. I don't know what it was in regard to. Yeah, see, this is what I miss when I don't go in person. But I just can't do it every time. So let's pick up where they came back from a closed session, and I didn't quite understand what the guy was there for other than renewing a contract for something, it sounded like. All right, and here we go. Sorry. Transition and start. Sport back in.
You will need a motion to reconvene in open session. So we just do.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
Okay, proper motion by Supervisor Oasis, second by Supervisor Rick, to reconvene the open session. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. And now we need a motion to adopt resolution for certification of closed session.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Okay, proper motion by Supervisor Oasis and second by Supervisor Will to adopt resolution for certification of closed session. Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Riddle.
Yes.
Chair
Chair
Roller.
Roller,
Yes.
Supervisor Oates.
Yes.
Supervisor Webb.
Yes.
Vice
Vice
Chair
Chair
Smart.
Smart,
Yes.
Supervisor Thompson,
Yes.
Supervisor
Supervisor
McDowell.
McDowell,
Supervisor
Supervisor
Clayton.
Clayton.
Yes.
Motion
Motion
passes
passes
7
to yes.
Okay. The next item is action resulting from closed session. We get several. I think the first is an MOU with the Sheriff's Department to handle animal control enforcement duties.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for us to approve the current temporary MOU between the county and the administration of the Sheriff's Department for animal control enforcement section.
Okay, it's been properly motioned by Vice Chair Smart and seconded by Supervisor Thompson to approve the MOU for the Sheriff's Department to perform the enforcement duties for our animal control. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Abstain. Those opposed.
Abstain.
Okay. We have two abstentions and 5 yes.
All right, let me pause it real quick. I've got to get quicker on my transitions for sure, but I'm getting quicker. All right, so they've come out of closed session, and you notice all the spectators are gone. And the first thing they said was that they've approved the MOU, which, God, I can't remember what that stands for, but it's something, it's kind of like a contract to pay, an agreement to pay, or an order or invoice or something. They're going to let the sheriff, I had to write it down. The sheriff is now going to help run animal control. So I'm assuming that the county, wait, I thought there was money involved. See, I need somebody to explain that to me. I wish I could get somebody in the comments to explain why you need an MOU for the Sheriff's Department to run animal control. But it looks like the Sheriff's Department is now going to run animal control. I think because right now they don't have a director. They either let the person go or they resigned. I can't remember right now. But let's see what else they decided in closed session that nobody waited around for. I'm telling you, I don't blame people. This gets so tedious. Ugh. But that's government. That's politics.
The next item would be Davenport. Is there?
Got the motion for Davenport? No, sir, I do not. Ron, you gave it to me. I don't know. So. Yeah. So I'd like to make a motion to delegate signatory authority to the county administrator to approve the agreement between Halifax County Administration and Davenport Company LLC for financial advisory services based on compensation and expenses for an annual retainer.
Second. Okay, it is probably motion and second for us to retain Davenport Financial Services. A motion by Supervisor Whit and second by Supervisor Riddle. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, like sign. Okay, the motion carries. Any further items in closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make the motion to give Mr. Bray board approval to leverage Ms. Jackson in a supervised fashion that she would not be given unfettered access to use no other financial systems, but would sit alongside Mr. Montardi, our interim finance director, to assist in specifically reconciling fund balances and locating historical data needed to complete FY 27 budget to develop and close out FY 25. Not discussing current audit, but just moving forward with our current budget process.
And I second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Vice Chair Smart and second by Supervisor Oaks to retain Ms. Jackson to assist our interim finance director in determining our fund balances and also assisting in the 2027 budget preparation. Is there any discussion?
A lot of discussion.
Okay.
He opened the door for discussion by doing that.
Okay.
This is one of the most egregious and misleading things to have been done tonight in relation to mentioning Ms. Jackson's name. First of all, even Ms. Jackson's name. So the door is now open for the talk about Ms. Jackson. In that forensic audit, the forensic audit, when we talked about the serious discrepancies and deficiencies that were involved in that audit, it did not name any individual in that audit. But if you go back and look at that audit, which is now public record, it stated that from looking at the audit, that one person controlled every bit of the county finances. There were no checks and balances there. There were nobody to supervise how our money was kept. And that was a no-no. And anything that you go into, you have checks and balances. That's one thing. And anything that you go into, you have proper records. And anything that you go into, too, you must be proficient enough or be knowledgeable enough to do these things. I'm not alleging that she wasn't knowledgeable, but the report showed that there was 85%, close to 86% of the requested information necessary for the due diligence that was missing. No records was there. Another point I can make now, since the door has been open, is we talked about having a system to keep up with this. We should have been digitized or been able to use the computer and the internet. A lot of people don't even know this. But for the last 19 years, we have had that system. We've had community system to deal with that. The question presented here is why wasn't that community system utilized? I checked the record to that. And we found out that over the last 19 years, we spent $2.5 million on the system that was capable of keeping these records. Why didn't we utilize that? That's a question to be asked. But that's the purpose of a forensic audit. And why in the world would we come out here now after we voted in early session to table anything dealing with this until the November, until the April 21st meeting. I don't know why. Because we voted out in public to table anything that was connected to the forensic audit until the 21st. None of this would have come out if we had abided by our promise. That's what we talk about transparency, y'all. That's what we talk about integrity, y'all. And we're not exercising. None of us are exercising. Don't stop me. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it.
Let's play. I mean, you're on and around. Go ahead and wrap up, please. We need other supervisor an opportunity.
We need to publicly get. I think there was some blowing for to get the people out here. Because we agreed in the public when we did. Yet we come back now and try to do something that's connected to that audit that we had already voted to hold off until the 21st. That is not correct. And that's out of order. First of all, the meeting where this stuff was decided, there were no minutes on the record today for the deal with it. That means that we didn't even get notice of the minutes where this was decided. You know how I found out about it? It was publicized in the Gazette, Virginia, where Mr. Smart recommended that we bring the Jackson back. That made it not in closed session anymore. It was recommended by him that we bring the Jackson back during that time. So if you had agreed to what we had said before, we went into closed session and taped until the 21st. I wouldn't be saying this today. But we have to be honest and transparent people. And when we're honest and transparent, we don't end up in a situation where we argue like it doesn't make any sense. And it brings the question to me whether or not we want to find out what's the problem with our money. Brings serious question to me. Whether or not we want to be transparent and find out what's happening over here. I am tired. And I'm tired of people not keeping their word. I'm tired of people abiding by the vote. We have to stop this.
All right, Mr. Chairman, just first of all, none of the paperwork was missing. This report says it was not provided to the Premier Group. That's a difference. Not provided.
It didn't say that, y'all.
Okay, you had your time. Double supervisor.
In my opinion, this is a motion to use Ms. Jackson to move the budget process forward. Not talking about the audit. And as you mentioned the 25 March. That you had no idea what was said, and then you turned right around and mentioned it was in the press.
That made it public, sir.
That's right. And made it public, so that would be transparent.
We all, every supervisor can keep time to speak. Go ahead, Rob.
It is very transparent. It was in the press. That's what I wanted. I don't know how more transparent yet. That's all.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is very ridiculous. Because we did agree before in open session, before we went into closed session, that this would not be talked about. This is utterly ridiculous. And if it was going to be in the help, why didn't we have the Premier Group question to start with? I mean, it's like letting the fox back in the hen house. It's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. This is not being transparent to the citizens. I'm sorry. Mr. Roll, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Any other comments?
Can I? I'm next in line. You'll get your point, please. First of all, the agreement was not to have a discussion about the forensic audit. This is not the forensic audit. This is the 2025 annual audit that we have not reconciled because we don't have the means to get that done. We can't move forward with a budget because we haven't reconciled the 2025 budget because there's been some comment about the quality of work provided to us by Robinson Farmer Cox, who's done our audits for 20 years. It goes out to bid every 3 years. I have records of all 5 times that this board has voted unanimously to go with Robinson Farmer Cox for our annual audit. We're currently they're currently retained for this year to do
the annual audit for this board. Secondarily, as part of what Premier Group did audit-wise, it was done remotely. Totally remotely. Nobody came down from Maryland and said, Ms. Sandra Williams, who is our finance person who does payroll, can you produce X, Y, and Z? Nobody came down and did that. She has been here almost 40 years. She's a very competent person. She would know where those records are, if they exist. And to make the reference that records didn't exist is absurd. There are file rooms full of records back there. It's having the person here who knows where to look, first of all. I question whether they talked to anybody who knew what they were providing. They asked for Mr. Riddle's timesheet. Mr. Riddle is a constitutional officer. He doesn't have a timesheet. He can't produce a timesheet. Nobody can produce his timesheet. And as far as our internet and our software program, Mr. Claiborne's been here 20 years. Why haven't we updated our programs? Why haven't we gotten staff to support the things that this forensic audit auditor says we need to have? Why don't we have someone to help with payroll? Why don't we have oversight? Because we are operating 20 years ago. This year, we had 3 people doing it 20 years ago, and we have 3 people doing it now. Unfortunately, since February of last year, we don't have a finance director to do the things that need to be done so we can move forward. But no, it's all Stephanie Jackson's fault. It's not her fault. Not one iota of it is. It's the fault of you, all of you who were here for years, who didn't do doodly squat to get Halifax County up front and moving. And that's what it boils down to. We're cheap. We want to buy cheap, spend cheap, do cheap, and cheap bit us in the ass. And I'm here to tell you about it. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you, Mr. Claiborne, saying what you all high and mighty about things, and we got to do better. That's my 2 cents worth. Your floor, Mr. Whit.
Can I say?
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
The forensic audit was about our procedures and about documents that I don't think were looked for properly. It was never about Stephanie Jackson. She's not on trial here. She's never been on trial. Nobody's accused her of doing anything. And to put her at the top of what's wrong is wrong. What's wrong is if we're not taking care of that, as Mr. Oak said, through the years. There's nothing wrong with how we do business. It's antiquated. We have hard copy records. They're in this building right this minute. All we have to do is go find them.
And how do you know we haven't made a bill?
How do you know we don't?
How do you know we don't? Now, everybody's spoken. The rule said that after everybody's spoken, I have a right to reply.
I'm sorry.
Since they made false accusations against me. Mr. Oaks, for your information, every year I question this. Okay? Every year I question why Stephanie Jackson was going up to the treasurer's office doing the treasurer's job. Every year we try to keep her out of that office. I give example to you, some of the former county administrators, and we did wrong by telling Mr. McDowell that we weren't going to discuss it today because he's not here tonight to defend himself. Because the fact you say we agreed not to discuss it. But every year that we dealt with this, I've dealt with it, okay? My question to the public is, when I took over the chairmanship last year, Stephanie Jackson resigned, okay? If she knew where the documents were then, once she resigned, she should have told us where the documents were. If she would be point number two that I'm raising here is that if we've had a memory system for 20 years, why wasn't that utilized? I did not bring Stephanie Jackson's name up in this thing. Okay? It was brought up publicly by Mr. Smart, and it was in the Gazette, Virginia, that he made that recommendation. And so I did nothing about bringing anything up. But point number three, when the premier group conducted that, they were stated in here that they asked her questions in. If she knew where the documents been before they made the decision, why did she tell them where the documents were there? Okay? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know what we're discussing.
And it's not in the discussion because I'm going to get my point up here because I'm tired of what's going on.
Please hurry up.
I'm going to hurry up my point, but people need to be clear that this is a serious issue involving the money of our taxpayers over the years. Talk about the tax. But we're in the present now, okay? And we have the ability to make sure that our taxpayers and we find out what really happened in the past. Yes, I've been on it for years. I have records to prove that I've been dealing with it. Okay? But it's not done. And so what we need to do is abide by our promises and be transparent to the public and not deceive them. When they were here, I stated accurately that anything connected to the forensic garden would not be discussed again. We agreed and we voted that it would be discussed on the 21st of November. But Mr. Smart brings up this stuff after we agreed not to do it.
Okay.
Is it improper?
And anybody else for I'll make my final comment. It is a motion on the floor by Vice Chair Smart for Ms. Jackson to assist that interim finance director in pointing them in the right direction, or informing him where to go, where to look, where to get our balance straight. And I feel like that, we've got to get to that point. No matter how many audits we do or future audits, we've got to get to where we know where the fund balance are. It's a motion on the floor in a second. And I feel it's time for us to have a roll call, please.
Supervisor Riddle.
No.
Chair Roller.
Yes.
Supervisor Oates.
Yes.
Supervisor Witt.
Yes.
Vice Chair Smart.
Yes.
Supervisor Thompson.
Yes.
Supervisor McDowell. Supervisor Claiborne.
No.
Motion passes 5-2.
Okay. We need a motion to continue the meeting on Tuesday, March 21st at 6:30 p.m. The Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission joint meeting. Do I give a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it's a proper motion by Supervisor Oaks and second by Vice Chair Smart. To continue our meeting on March 21st. I'm sorry, the April 21st. But anyway, that is. But April 21st, all in favor, signify saying aye. Okay, and just to make y'all aware, our Board of Supervisors Planning Commission joint meeting, April 21st, 2026, 6:30 p.m. And the Board of Supervisors regular meeting will be on May 4th, 2026, 6:30 p.m. Y'all all have a safe trip home.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Wow. Okay. Let's.
Battery
Oh my
actions
God.
shown on
Just
this station.
stop this. Let's. Good gracious Almighty! I'm so flustered I can't even cover my screen capture and then transition. That was pretty intense, y'all. Okay, I've got a lot of notes here. We have a dysfunctional board. That's all there is to it. And did you notice Mr. Claiborne walked out before it was even open, over. So there's a lot of emotion flowing in here that really has no place here. Mr. Oaks got a little heated and carried away using profanity. Shouldn't have done that. I understand the passion and emotion things carry, but you're in a professional setting and you've got to get a cap on that. You don't just walk out of meetings like that before they're finished. I know it's difficult to sit there when things aren't going the way you suppose they should be. Just like with Mr. Oakes, I understand you get irritated, but what all of you, my God. No, not all of you. That's not fair. But overall, as a board, watching this, I just felt like a preschool teacher trying to herd my kids in and stop your fussing. Earlier, when the public was here, it was said that they were going to wait until they have a meeting on, when is it, April 21st, where they're going to discuss this. There's another town hall going on about it. In other words, opportunities to talk about the forensic audit. Now, to clarify, the forensic audit was something they paid the $50,000 for that was specifically ordered due to some concerns about board members. Now, every year there's what they call an annual audit. And that's, checking your records for the year so that you can reconcile your budget to make your budget for the following year. So I think right now they cannot get the budget done for 2026 until they reconcile the 2025 budget. So with this records issue that came up in the forensic audit, I think they can't do that. So some of the board members are wanting to bring the old finance director in to try and help them get through this so that they can get the budget done. And that it is a separate issue from the forensic audit, but they're tied together too. So it's not a totally separate issue. Some very interesting points were brought up, like this audit was done remotely, and if all the records are on paper, how does a remote person access that tangible physical record? Why in the hell does nobody not know where anything is? Apparently they have, what's it called? A Muni system? I need to look that up because I don't know what it is. But they've had it for nearly 2 decades, and they've spent $2.5 million on it, but it hadn't been used, and that's sort of a digital record system, I think is what they were saying. And then somebody said to Mr. Claiborne, we've been here 20 years, why didn't you handle it? But we can back and forth tit-tat this all day long. Bottom line is they need to get their stuff together. They mentioned discrepancies in the audit. I don't recall seeing that. I have requested a copy of this audit, so maybe we can digest it together. And there was also the mention of why part of the audit was asked to be done, is that one person controlled all the finances. And I'm going to assume this is the Stephanie person they're talking about that they want to bring back to try and help find the records to get things reconciled. Mr. Claiborne also mentioned there was no checks and balances, no records, and that this had gone on for a long 19 years. And that is as long as Miss Stephanie had been there. So, of course, those are things of concern. But why did this rock on for so long to put you in a situation like this would be my question. So, what do my other notes say here? I like the little speech about we're cheap and we don't pay money to do things. That was kind of funny, but I didn't like how that kind of devolved. And someone was making a point of the paperwork is not missing. It just wasn't provided because it's not digitized. It's in file cabinets somewhere in the building. Like, dude, the minute this came out, why didn't somebody go around the building and look? I don't get that. And apparently when Mr. Claiborne became the chairman last year, that's when this financial director person quit. So clearly there was some conflict there. Really interesting stuff. What else did before that, I forgot to mention, they agreed to hire somebody named Davenport to be their financial advisor, to get financial advisor services. And what is this I wrote about Mr. Braid? Something about, I wrote aggressive and misleading. Who the hell said that? See, this is why you should break it up like minute by minute. But to me, that's tedious and boring, and I don't feel like I have that much input. Anyway, so I think the reason Mr. Claiborne walked out and there was all this tiffiness going on is because, well, obviously there's a problem that they're trying to solve and they can't agree to solve it because we have to keep going backward. Anyway, when the public was in there and they said they weren't going to talk about the forensic audit until the next meeting that is specifically there to discuss the forensic audit, which is April 21st. And then as they were about to wrap the meeting up, Mr. Smart made a motion to bring in Jackson Johnson, to bring the girl who was the financial director for 19 years, to bring her in to help them get through the reconciling of the 2025 annual audit so that they can proceed and get the next budget done. Again, it still ties into the forensic audit. They're not two mutually exclusive issues because records are records for both issues. Oh, dear Lord. Ugh. And that was the end of the meeting. So that's covering a lot. Man, we got to do better. And I'm going to sign off with that because I'm tired and this stuff just gives me a headache and I get really frustrated that things aren't done in a calm, respectful, logical manner. But Halifax County will get through this because the earth will still turn tomorrow. You guys have a good night, and I've got a interview with the mayor of Brookneal coming up, and something they're doing called Brookneal Network, which is just fantastic. I think I've got a couple. Oh yeah, I went to a Republican meeting tonight. That was quite interesting. So I'll be doing Elisa's Oasis soon too. Anyway, take care. Please, let's all try to be positive and keep participating in our county government. Educate yourself on what's going on. It's fine to disagree with each other, but let's be respectful. Where's my little off button? I'm tired. Y'all have a good night.